Hello everyone, my name is Jordan, also known as Scraps, and today I will be discussing how to layer drums effectively and how to chain them all together so that way when you go to play a big, either, let's say you're playing in a big club and you really can't hear all those finite sounds, we're gonna basically master each sample so that way when you go and play like highs or mids or different percussion, they're made to fit in that range. So I'm going to demonstrate how, well, basically I'm just going to demonstrate all the effects turned off and then I'm going to turn on all the effects. So right now I'm just taking out all the effects from and I'll be showing you how to group them together so that way you can organize your sounds a little bit neater too. So this is without I'm just going to solo the drums too. This is without the effects. And this is with. So basically what we're doing is we're just removing certain signals that don't need to be processed through the drums. Check you guys back out in a few seconds. Okay, so one of the things we need to start off with is a blank instance of live or a new set. And inside a drum rack, we're going to load our certain samples. And the samples we want are two different types of kicks, one for the low and one for the high/mid range. Then we're going to focus on claps and snares. You want a very chunky clap or a very spacey clap compared to a very 909 type of snare. The snares really generally depend on what it is you're looking for in a sound. This is basically a 707 or a 909 if you come from the hardware era sample. That snare right there. So what I like to use is I love to use 16 steps. They have some of the best kicks and claps I think I've heard, next to Wave Alchemy and of course Native Instruments. So what I'm basically going to be doing is going through a couple kicks, and I'm also going to organize it and show you straight off the bat. So we need two kicks, one big boomy kick and one high-end kick. So that's a good low one. Call this kick 1. Kick 7 is a good high kick, so it's best to organize and rename all your samples too. Pardon me, I'm a little sick. So I'll probably only be able to put out one really kick-ass video for today. And then tomorrow I'm going to work on organizing some synths for you guys to learn. So for claps, we need a spacey clap. There we go, 14 is good. We call this clap 1. And next what we're going to do is add a snare, a very tight snare. Snare 12 sounds good. Snare 1. Okay, and the next thing we need are, of course, cymbals. I want a closed hat, an open hat, a ride, and of course a crash. That one's a good one. Name as hat 1. Crash 3 is nice and long. I think we'll use that. This is an open hat, and I like it a lot, so I'm going to rename it as hat 2. And finally, a ride. Ride number 2 sounds good. So for ride 2, I think in order to spice up our drums, is I'm going to go back to kick and set the spread to about 50. Right click it and copy value to siblings. And what's that going to do is that's going to spread that across all the different samples we have. So when we play a certain note, it's going to sound wider. Just trying to find the crash symbol. Just going to transpose this a bit and give it a little bit of portamento. And to tune it, maybe about 12 cents. And since that's a little ringy on the ears, I'm going to attach a high pass 24 and bring that down to about 914 hertz. There we go. So in order to organize this, we're going to have to hit our racks chain list, and it'll bring this up. But the good thing about viewing all of our different samples is that we can hold shift and select multiple ones and group that. So that way we have our own kick section. Next comes our mids, so that will include our hats, snares, and claps. And for our rides and crash, that's actually more of a, I'm going to have to say, let's see, mids, highs to be precise. Now, if you want to go into some of the more technical aspects of your drum chain, you can always hit the in and out output selector, and this will display like return chains. Like in order to create one, you just right click and drop one down. You can say, oh, I want this to come out of my return chain instead of manually drawing it in. So there's your return, and your sends will bring up all the how much to send to that chain. So in order to create some dynamics for the kick, now kicks only contain a low frequency, so what I'm basically going to do is add on to this kick a low pass filter. And the problem with this is that I'm just going to drop it onto kick 1 and hold down Alt so that way I copy it over there. But for kick 2, I'm just going to take the high notes. So I'm going to attach a high pass. So when I hit note now, oh, that's right, it's out of the chain box. You want to make sure that it's inside this chain box, otherwise it'll be affecting your whole drum set, and you don't want that. There you go. And so that's one. Another thing we might want to look at is, are we boosting the signal? Because if we boost the signal, we want to create some of that compression. So I'm going to attach this to the outer chain because we wanted to affect both. There. So the compressor will work on the kicks, and I think for the claps and snares, huh? Oh. So those are very bright and sharp. I'm going to attach a compressor, an auto filter to filter out some of the high pass. Actually, I'm going to attach a high pass because we're only working with the mid range. So there we go. Let's see if it affected the hi-hats. Nope, not very much. So, and oh, that's right, I gotta make sure this is outside the box. My bad. So there we have our claps. Now, if this is a little bit too much, you can always take off the compressor. Yeah, so that was a little bit too much. And for the highs, you absolutely want to sweep out all of the lower frequencies, so about 2.47K for the rides. There we go. And this is a little bit low in volume, so I'm going to compress it a bit. And there we go. So that does it for the layering of drums. The only problem with layering is that you want to make sure you have the right sounds to begin with. Because if you don't have the sounds to begin with, then it makes it much harder for you to edit some of the aspects when making a track. So I'm going to just create a little pattern here. This is actually kind of like my own pattern. And if you duplicate this across, but as you can hear from the track itself, it's pretty good. I mean, the sounds and the claps and the snares and kicks hit pretty hard. So in order to create dynamic drums, it's best to filter out the frequencies so that way you can expand on them a bit. There are some other techniques, like if you don't want to use an auto filter, you can use the filter inside. It's just that this is more visually pleasing for me to see instead of just, I think it's this range. No, I think it's this range. So for now, I hope you can learn something from this. And I think tomorrow I'm going to try and make you guys a track. And I'm actually going to save this drum rack as, let's see, Dance Kit 2. And so one of the tracks I'm trying to work on is, I was influenced by deadmau5 and his older stuff. So I tried to create something like that. And this is actually the beginning product of what it should sound like. So I think I'll just play you guys out from here. Thanks for watching, and I'll check you guys out later.